Good morning, everyone. My name is Anne-Marie Beggs. I am the owner of a business called the Paragraph Challenge based in Dublin, Ireland, and I provide education solutions for children, teenagers, and adults right up to the age of 81. Today, I'm delighted to welcome Sophie. Sophie has developed a business called Spike's Sight Words. So thanks for joining us, Sophie. So Sophie's going to tell us a little bit about her business and what inspired her to create what she now has is a fantastic game. So thanks for joining me, Sophie.
Thank you very much, Anne-Marie. Thank you very much. Yes, I'm Sophie, and I suppose I'm the creator, director, and inventor of, as you said, Spike Sight Words. And basically, they're educational board games to help children read and practice spelling and reading of exception words and high frequency words in English. And I'll tell you a little story of how I came up with the idea. I was teaching my young children. I've got a boy and a girl, how to read, which is not an easy task. But I decided to have a go, and luckily my daughter learned quite well. The so-called conventional way, it was all fine. But my son, oh, my dear son, he was just not interested at all. Nothing I could do would encourage him to start learning, start reading. And all he was doing was playing with his toy cars. That's all he did, put them into colors, into shapes, sizes, speed, and that's all he wanted to do. And I sort of had that kind of eureka moment, and I thought, what if I could find something where he could bring the toy car and incorporate it into learning? And I sort of had an idea. I sketched up a board, there and then, and I told my son, come to the table and bring your toy car. And he was shocked. I mean, he was shocked, really.
Really clever idea. Yeah.
Exactly. And I said, bring it and go and get me one as well. And he did. And then suddenly, we were rolling the dice and moving the car along. And lo and behold, he started learning. And I think he learned about 3 words in that one game we did. And I kind of figured, Anne-Marie, that, you know what? People just learn in different ways. They need an alternative way. And that's what I did. I gave my son and many other children an alternative way to learn.
You're so right. I know because I've been working like for 18 years in this field. And similarly, it was my son who inspired me to change my direction from a financial controller to what I do now. And for a lot of children, yeah, conventional ways don't work. They don't interest them. They don't spark joy, they don't spark inspiration, or they like to use their imaginations, and there's not a lot of an imagination in a conventional way of learning to read. So I can see that the difference of having a game like yours would have to particularly a small child who hasn't, I suppose, built up so many triggers around reading and conventional schooling. But to him it's just a game. Older kids, you're just trying to teach me something in a different way. But when they're little, they respond well to, the interactive approach of your game. And so originally you just decided to do it for your son. And then how did you decide to turn that into a business?
Well, yes. Well, do you know what? I just continued to play with my son. And I also, my daughter wanted to join in. So I thought she already knew how to read the words. I still wanted to, include her. So she sort of inspired, if you turn the tokens around, you can spell the word instead. So she sort of gave me that element to it. And then I sort of tested it out on a few friends, and then tested it out in a few schools, kind of here and there. And then, I made the decision that I really want to go for this. It wasn't an easy decision, and it was a really brave one from me.
I can imagine, yeah.
It was.
It takes a lot of time, effort, resources to build a product. I know that myself, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot, behind the scenes went into it. I first had to order a sample, and that sample, to ask for one copy of something cost a lot of money. So I had to order that. But, that was essential because I had to see what the product looked like, what worked, what didn't.
Definitely, yeah.
So I got that, and then I had to do something like toy testing. So I basically paid a lot of money for it to be destroyed, which
Oh,
was,
to see how resilient it was
yeah,
for kids. Yeah, that's very
exactly.
smart. Yeah,
They,
because they just
you
make it
have to
hurting.
send it off, and you get the logos to put on, and just to make sure that the toy was safe. And I had to, because I didn't want anything, should anything happen. So once
No,
we
you
did
don't.
that, it was
Yeah.
fine. It was fine. And then I said I used to live in the Middle East, and I quit my job and I moved to England, and I waited for that big shipment, and then there you go, and it was just like that. 1 or 2 years of work, and then really homing the actual product, because I knew, once I went for it, there's no way I could then make adaptation. It had to be exactly how it was.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it is. It's very good quality. The boards are very strong, and I know I had it at my conference, and the kids played with it, and some of my younger students have used it as well. And it's a very nice product. And I suppose the nice thing about it is you're not just restricted to one board either. There's several different boards to
Yeah.
interest the different imaginations of different children. So
um
yeah,
I absolutely want to pick up that, Anne Marie, because you're so right. The huge part for me was that a child had to play on a board that they really, really loved. So whether your child loves dinosaurs, space, sport, football, tractors, it had to capture their attention and imagination. There's no point a child playing, I don't know, a car board if they can't stand cars. So
exactly. Yeah.
there had to be subjects that nearly, every child would really love. And as you mentioned, each pack comes with 3 boards. So, the idea is you can either play one board, which lasts about 5 minutes, or you can play, the second and the third board. And you can play it using the same tokens. So you get that repetition of practicing the words, but it's like on a new design. So you feel
Yeah.
like a game.
Yeah, it's more interesting, isn't it? And even the packaging that you have on it, it's really handy for storing because it's not a cardboard box. So if you want to take one so people can see what the actual
Look,
carry case looks like.
it comes in this really nice carry case. I wanted it like this because I wanted the child to be able to pick it up and take it places. And
Yeah,
inside comes with 3 boards, as we've just been saying. And I'll show you a few of them.
sure.
Like I said, we have 30 designs. So you can actually choose which ones your child would like. So this
Oh, so
one,
you can customize the packaging.
yes, exactly. You can either choose a
Brilliant.
theme, or you can individually pick the boards your child will like. Just some as
Yeah,
examples, this is an animal board that we have, that you go around looking at the animals. We
very
have
nice. Yeah.
a lovely Chinese dragon here, you can see. That's really
Oh,
nice.
yeah, that's
That's
really pretty. Really, really nice colors. It's really bright as well, isn't it? And vibrant. Yeah.
And that one's quite popular actually with older children and even adults, like that one, who are struggling
Yeah.
to read.
Oh, my husband would probably love it because he loves snakes and ladders.
Yeah, exactly.
The
That
only
one,
game he likes to play.
this is our alien board,
Oh,
which comes in our space range. But like I
yeah.
said, we've got, football, tennis, insects, you name it, it should be there. So, that was key for us.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great product. And I mean, we deal in exactly the same things as you do because in Davis we talk about the sight words, we call them trigger words because they trigger a blank space. And we resolve it by creating things in clay. And your model is great even for our students to then, once they've done that, they can then play a game where they can, like you said, see the words, and then you can repeat it the next day, maybe on a different board. And so it's not so boring as, you know, years ago, all people had was flashcards, and kids get bored with them. And you know, they kind of just sometimes know it off by heart without actually knowing the word, if you know what I mean. Whereas if it's in a different situation,
and just to pick up on your point, Anne-Marie, about not being boring, we do actually include playing pieces, but we're really encourage people to like bring your own counter. So
so like the card your son had,
that's right.
And you've different levels, isn't there different levels of words within the?
That's right. I'll show you. So there are 300 tokens which come with 150 words, and they have been repeated again to get that repetition. But they come in lovely drawstring bags like that, which you can see.
Yeah, I really like the little bags. So,
thank you. And there's beginner tokens, intermediate, and advanced. So you can obviously start off wherever your child is, you know, right at the beginning or further on. And like I said, with those tokens, you can either practice reading them or you can practice spelling them as well.
Yeah, the spelling is a great extra addition, because sometimes parents forget that when they're learning the words, that it's easier to learn to spell it at that time than have to go back and, you know, duplicating your work. Whereas if you do it all in the one go, then, you know, and the feeling of success that kids get when they like accomplish learning words and spelling words, I know that because I've seen it in my students, is, I suppose it's unparalleled, because when they're sitting in a classroom, they're just seeing it on a page. It's not interactive. It's not fun. And you know, they switch off, whereas they have to stay engaged if they're playing a game, because most kids like the, you know, the competitive edge that a game provides.
That's right. But, you know, also, our games, as I said before, only take about 5 minutes. So, you know,
which is good even.
Out there for hours, you know, which I do enjoy, by the way. Like
oh, sometimes I do and sometimes I don't.
Yeah.
My nieces and nephews go, can we play Monopoly? I go, gosh, do we have to?
I love it, but as long as I know it's going to take at least 2 hours.
It is great, but it's long. It's a big time commitment. Yeah,
it is. But just going back to what we were saying about spelling, our tokens focus on exception words or trigger words, as you were saying. And these can be really tricky for children to learn. You know, like, for example, the word said, you know, you would think it would be, or a child would think SED, you know.
Exactly, and that's exactly what my son used to write. Yeah, it's because it doesn't follow any phonetic rules, and most of them they don't, and that's what, well, phonetics don't always work either for dyslexic kids or picture thinking kids in general, and so they prefer to learn just by sight and to understand what the meaning of the word is, rather than, you know, my son always wrote SED, said. I mean, where you go to school makes a big difference as well to your experience, because some teachers will say, okay, that's fine, I know what they're trying to say, and they will accept the content, and then, you know, move the child along and acknowledge that the spelling isn't right. We'll come up with a solution for that. Whereas others, there's a lot of red all over the place, you know, and it's not a positive experience. Where a game is.
I know, I was going to say, I agree. And not only the school, I do also feel a lot is to do with your parents. You know, I once worked with, it's a long story, but I was reading with a young boy, and his father walked in and started laughing at us, and said, what are you doing, son? Why are you reading? And I was just flabbergasted that a father could laugh at what we were doing. And this was many years ago, and it stayed with me. And this is what our board games are again trying to do. Maybe that parent didn't have the confidence to read a book or didn't really like to read a book. But by playing like our board games, it's, the pressure of reading a book is off. And instead they could still practice reading, but in a less pressurized, fun way.
Absolutely, I totally agree. Yeah, and it's one thing that small children in particular dislike intensely is someone laughing. Even if you're not laughing at them, once you start laughing, that they instantly get their guard up and they get upset, and then it becomes something that they dislike doing.
Yeah.
Which you're right, because not all parents have the skills to help children academically, whereas there's less pressure, like you said, with a game. Yeah. So is there anything else that you wanted to share with everybody today, Sophie?
Well,
so who's your target audience? So is it all children, would you say, or even adults maybe who haven't learned to read in school?
Yeah, there's like 3 different areas. So the first one is for young children whose parents would like to teach them to read. There aren't that many of parents who can do it or will do it, but that is a market for children who are really young, who want to take that beginning step in reading.
Give them a step up,
Exactly. So that's one. The other one is maybe for about 4 to 8 years old, or 10 years old, like struggling readers, children with dyslexia, but also children without dyslexia, just struggling.
I agree. Yeah.
And that's a way for them to practice and get to know these words. And the third sort of target audience we're going to is young adults and adults who are struggling with reading or struggling to read with their children a book. So we're sort of aiming for that as well. And should also mention children and adults who are learning English as a second language.
That's a very good thing for them to learn the words, because they're the most frequently used words in the English language. And they're the words that if you listen to someone who's not a native English speaker, they frequently use like incorrectly. They might have the tense is funny, and like you said, because it's not phonetic language, that sometimes it's very confusing if you're not a native speaker. And so it's a less pressurized way to learn. We had au pairs years ago, and the first au pair I had taught herself English by reading my children nursery rhymes. I was fascinated. I came home one day and because she'd heard me read them, so she knew what they were, and the kids knew them as well. So if she got stuck, even though they mightn't know the words, they would say it, and then she'd figure out. But like, she was with us for about 9 months, but she spoke English but perfectly when she left. But she taught herself using nursery rhymes, which is very clever and a similar idea to yours. And so you've had a great response from the public, I think, so far, Sophie. I know you were telling me earlier you've been shipping them all over the world. That's fabulous. So where can people buy your products at the moment, Sophie?
So at the moment, it's just online. It's at spikewords.com, the website. But in time, I want to get them into various shops and things. But for now, just online, you can buy it.
Yeah. I mean, all of the younger generation, I think, who have younger kids, all shop online anyway. I know my daughter just had a baby, and she bought everything that she could get online. Sometimes it's just so efficient. I think they're the efficient generation. Like, why would they spend 3 hours searching for something when they can find it in 5 minutes and deliver it the next day?
It is true.
It is, but still, I sometimes like going to the shops. But so anybody who's based in Ireland who's watching this video, if they contact me, I can get the product from Sophie for you, because I know there is a bit of an issue with some things because of the whole customs and all that. But I have a way to bring them into Ireland. So if you are in Ireland, because sometimes when you go to Amazon specifically, it says out of stock, because I wrote a book last year and released it, and it was very well received, and my third one's coming out soon. And a few friends of mine have also written books, and what Amazon write on it doesn't say contact the supplier, it says out of stock. The product's not out of stock. they just don't want to ship it because it might be an individual. Like most, like if you're a well-known author or a well-known game producer and your product's on Amazon, yes, they'll bring it into Ireland, but otherwise they don't need to.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
Yeah,
it's
so that's another option. So contact me or Sophie. I can pass you along to Sophie to at her fabulous games.
Thank you, Anne-Marie. I just wanted to say I'm also with the idea of possibly sort of franchising the product and the idea out to various countries. Because I can't do it all myself, but if I could get somebody to run, like, I don't know, Spike Sight Words India, that's a sort of option. Because like you said, the shipping is not easy, or the import.
Not easy, and it can be very expensive. I know that from shipping some of my books around the world, that, you know, so I then loaded them up to Amazon because it's just more efficient. But to physically post one of my books to the US costs €25. So nobody wants to pay that on top of the cost of your product, do they? So yeah. There's a lot of things to consider when you have a new business like yours. And congratulations again on a fantastic product, and doing it all while you're at home with 2 small children is a great achievement.
I'm guessing as long as I get my 8 hours sleep, I'm fine.
Yeah, you're lucky. Okay, so thank you for joining me, Sophie. It's been fantastic to learn all about your products, and I know we'll see them all over the place soon. Sophie's on LinkedIn. Are you on all the other social media platforms as well?
Of course. One has to these days.
Yeah, just because, you know, somebody might watch it here and they might not be on another platform. So just so we can share all the information that it's easy to find you under Spike Sight Words. So thanks again, and I look forward to seeing you in the future, Sophie.
Thank you very much, Anne-Marie. I appreciate your support.